What's going on, y'all? Robert Sykes, KetoSavage.com, and today I've got special guest, my lovely wife and mother-to-be, Crystal Sykes, back on the podcast. This is not a second trimester recap. We're still going to do that one. This is all about a 2021 recap, what we have coming 2022. We're doing one more limited launch of the brick by brick, discount, because there's a little bit of wall space that does not yet have a name on it. So we're going to do that. So we go into the details on that in the podcast, and then we talk about the baby that we're having, the gender, the name, the meaning behind the name, and we talk about 2022's theme, the manifesto for 2022. So super exciting to kind of like just do a high-level view, bunch of rapid-fire stuff of all that we have coming up in the pipeline, all the things that we've had, just total craziness this past few months, this past year, and just kind of let y'all peek behind the curtain as to what all's going on in our life right now. So without further ado, sit back, relax, and enjoy the conversation with my lovely wife, Crystal. Boom, we are live. Y'all just missed it. Crystal got done beatboxing. You want to do it again, babe?
No, I'm not. That's about what it sounded like, yeah.
So this is not one of our pregnancy recap videos. We've been doing that with every trimester. We're going to do another podcast episode with Crystal for the second trimester. This is not that. This is a 2022 manifesto. This is a 2021 recap, 2022 plans. This is a brick by brick opportunity for an additional discount, once in a lifetime opportunity. And this is also a little bit about the baby,
but not the pregnancy stuff, just a little bit of info.
Some higher level stuff. So how you doing, babe?
Great.
Good to be back in the podcast seat here.
Yeah, I'm getting all the spotlight here lately.
That's a good looking sweater you got on. Where'd you get that?
Robert got it for me for Christmas.
Yeah, looks good. All right, so let's start off with a manifesto. For those of you that do not know, every single year for the past 3 or 4 years now, maybe 5, I'm not sure, I've done a manifesto video and put that on the podcast. And like people make New Year's resolutions all the time, and I've always kind of not really been a fan of those because it's like a fleeting goal. You have a goal, you have a resolution, this is something you want to do. Everybody has things that they want to do, but unless you kind of have a theme and then you put that theme into practice and it becomes a habit, it just doesn't really, materialize in anything. So for me, having like a theme for the year, which kind of underlies every decision I make for that year, has carried a lot more weight than a resolution. And 2021's manifesto was about 365 Savage, basically just doing more. So there were some things I committed to doing every single day. Brandon Scott, shout out to him. He's the one that got me started doing the 1 mile a day, and I have not missed a single run apart from the week following that 50-mile march when I was on crutches. Still got my mile in, but I was not running during that week. I was hobbling during that week.
Even on the 50-mile march, he ran a mile.
Yeah.
I'm like, you are a psycho.
Yeah, that was interesting because there was like 5 miles left to go on that 50-mile march, and I'm like, yeah, but I need to run one of them for it to count. So the only time I have not run a mile was during that week after the 50-mile march when I was literally on crutches for a week. But
you still crutched your way through a mile.
Yes, I did. But like that was one of them, and then reading every single day was one of them, saying something nice to somebody every single day, posting some form of content every single day, whether it be on one of the platforms basically. But of all of those, the thing that's really stuck and had a transformative impact was the 1 mile a day run, because it takes a lot of discipline to run a mile every single day. A mile is not a long distance. It's not a lot by any means, but there's some times where you just don't want to get up and run a mile.
Yeah.
And they like you can't make an excuse for it. So it was an exercise in discipline and consistency, because anybody can, it's like the same thing as resolutions. Like people can make these resolutions when they're motivated, when they're excited, when they're ramped up, but when the rubber meets the road and you're like, okay, I'm either going to do what I said I was going to do or I'm not, that is what defines you. And when you don't feel like running a mile, but you force yourself to anyways, like that was a good thing for me. I feel like I enjoyed that process. Didn't really affect you too much, Chris, but there were some times where I like couldn't hang out with you because I had to go get my mile in still.
Yeah. It never took very long, though. There was just times where I was sitting there, like we'd be hanging out, and he's like, oh, I got to go run my mile. And I'm like, ugh, that sounds like the last thing I want to do right now. And I should have got my butt up and gone with you, but I did not. Yeah. But there was a little stint, like, was it 1 or 2 months that I was running a mile every day.
Yeah.
And we started going together until we moved, and then I let the move get a hold of me and I stopped running.
Well, people when you commit to running a mile every single day without fail, you realize how many excuses people make for themselves when they don't do things. Because, like, it'd be downpouring rain. I'd be out there running my mile. There was that crazy snowstorm we had in February where we literally had 2 feet of snow on the ground in Arkansas, which is unheard of. I'd be out there running a mile. People make excuses for things they don't want to do, and they're able to justify it in their mind. But when you say, hey, look, no matter what, I'm getting my mile in, come hell or high water, and you do it, it's like, okay, I'm going to let that transcend the mile and, go into other areas of my life and not make excuses for them. And I feel like that is something that anybody should benefit from and could benefit from.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, running a mile is not this impressive physical feat, but I feel like anybody should be capable of just simply getting up and running a mile on a whim. So it was good from that standpoint as well.
Yep.
The next thing, so that was 2021's manifesto, kind of a long-winded approach there. 2022, I've been thinking about this a lot, and I think the theme that most resonates with me, and probably you as well, and just kind of what we've had coming, is faith over fear. And you can take that and make whatever you want out of it. Some people are going to take that and make it a biblical thing. That's totally fine. Some people are going to take it and make it something different. That's totally fine. For me and for you too, Crystal, like this past year, 2021, was just total chaos. We moved the building. We moved the whole team. There was a lot of obstacles that have come our way. And going forward in 2022, it's like in any year, really, there's things you don't always know the answer to. Like, there's not a playbook for life. There's not a very defined right or wrong path with a lot of decisions that you make in life. And for me, the whole faith over fear concept was like, look, if I've done everything to the best of my ability, if I've pulled out all the stops, if I've put in the work, if I've not made excuses, if I've given it my all, there is no sense in fearing the outcome. It is what it is. I haven't cut corners. I just have to have faith that it will work out. And whether that's coming from God or some higher being, or if it's coming from just the wills of the universe, who knows? But there's a point in life, and people can attest to this in their own life in some form or fashion, where it's like you don't know where else to turn because you've done everything you can, and you just have to trust that it's going to be okay. And this past year, that was manifested a lot. 2022, there's still a lot of things coming that's still going to be manifesting that. So I think faith over fear and just doubling down on that concept is a reasonable and a good solid theme for the manifesto.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree.
Any thoughts on how that could implement you personally? Like, how has that affected you with all the stuff that's going on for you outside of the business, just you, Crystal?
The faith over fear?
Yeah.
So many ways. I don't know. I feel like this last year, or the last little bit of this last year, whatever, we've kind of been saying that more and more. And I feel like going into this next year, we have a lot of things that are unknown, and a lot of things that people want you to be fearful. I mean, I don't think on purpose, but people say, well, what if this happens, or what if that, or what if, this, that, or the other. And it's like they don't mean to, but they're trying to instill fear in you. And I've just told Robert on like several different occasions, like, I'm not fearful. Like, I refuse to be fearful, and I will put everything I have into the faith that I have. And to me, there's a lot of those things coming up that people don't mean to put fear into me, but like, I refuse to accept it, and I choose to have faith over it.
Yeah. I mean, as far as just like the pandemic itself is concerned, and like,
yeah.
I don't want to get into I don't want to open Pandora's box here and get into a discussion on vaccines, non-vaccines, all the people that are on the fence about that. But regardless of where you stand on that, it's not healthy to live life in fear. And I feel like throughout the pandemic, I've seen so many people try to push the pause button on their life and just wait for things to return to some degree of normalcy like it was prior to the pandemic. And in doing so, they've sacrificed relationships, they've sacrificed potential opportunities in life and in business and the career path. They've just honestly just lived in fear. They've hid from everything that is a risk, a supposed risk, and they've allowed themselves to be a shell of their true potential. And I feel like that is more so a result of the fear they have than it is towards anything tangible. And I've just not liked seeing that unfold. So regardless of where you stand on anything pandemic related, politics related, anything like that, I think people would benefit by living a more courageous life and not living. I mean, you can't push the pause button on life. It just doesn't work that way. Like, the time is going to pass regardless. So doubling down on what you know to be true in your heart of hearts and then living life accordingly is going to be advantageous for anybody.
Yeah. And just to add to that, like, there are precautions that need to be taken and things like that. Like, we just had to make a not so fun decision because it's a precaution we are trying to take. And I think that there's a difference between taking those precautions and then living fully in fear and just allowing that fear to, like, overcome your life and not taking a leap of faith.
Yeah. So faith over fear, something I can totally get behind. Passionate about what it means. We're actually making shirts that say faith over fear. So I'm super excited about that. I guess that's kind of like, we can talk about the apparel a little bit, because that's kind of relevant with the shirts that we're going to be making. But we've got, so from the top, we've got livesavageapparel.com. And that was created, when did we make that? 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Year and a half ago?
I think 2020.
Yeah,
Pretty sure.
2020, I think.
I don't know.
They've all blended together.
I know.
And we have honestly not done really well with that business because we haven't really focused on it like we should. Mm-hmm. We got a lot of the shirts from a screen printing company in Texas. They were all great. Those are all the T-shirts that say Keto Brick, Live Savage, Keto Savage. And then from there, we started getting a bunch of athletic lines from overseas. And they were all great too. I mean, like, the quality's solid, but it was not us producing the clothes. So, with the bricks, we've always kept that in-house, from day one. I feel like that's resulted in a lot of the brand loyalty that we have with our customers. I feel good about it because I can oversee all the quality control, and I just know that it's from our own hands. With the apparel, we haven't had that, and I've always felt not bad, but kind of bad about that. So with the move to this new facility, we've got enough space now to really just hustle the apparel and grow that leg of the business. So we bought a screen printing press. We've been learning how to screen print. And we have also recently found a supplier that is U.S. based. So rather than everything getting made overseas, like pretty much every textile company does, like, it's amazing how many things are not made in America anymore. Like, it's kind of disheartening, really. I think bringing manufacturing back to our own soil is super important, something I'm very passionate about. So going forward, at least with the foreseeable future, we found a new supplier that actually makes the clothes in America. And we're going to be sourcing our blanks from them. And then we're going to be printing all of our own designs. We're going to be actually putting the shirts to, making the shirts, putting the designs on the shirts. So super excited about that. We're going to launch that. So we're basically going to do a full-blown relaunch of the apparel company sometime first quarter of 2022. And I feel like that's something that we can get behind, rally behind the, made in America concept for sure. Mm-hmm. So super excited about that. Also, we could talk about the bricks a little bit with regard to the Brick by Brick launch. So this podcast is going out on a Monday. When you hear this podcast, this will be in effect. If you recall, we moved, you got to talk more, Chris. I feel like I'm doing all the talking. but if y'all recall, we moved to the new facility in August of 2021. We were living in the warehouse for 3 years. Prior to that, found a building, bought it 2020, spent a year renovating it. There was all kinds of headaches that came with that renovation process. We moved up here in August of 2021, and we've been here ever since. When we moved up here, we did this cool, unique brick by brick launch in which anybody that bought a brick in the month of August from ketobrick.com got their name painted on one of the actual bricks at the new facility, at the new compound 2.0.
On the front of our building.
Yeah, on the front of our building. We don't ever do discounts on the bricks because there's not really much of a margin there to do discounts. So us doing a discount for the brick by brick was honestly just a way to pay it forward for the customers, for the family that has supported us and made this whole transition possible. So Ellen, our amazing crew member Ellen, she's the only one on the team that has decent enough handwriting to write everybody's names on the bricks and it not look horrendous.
Yeah, she's done such a good job, but it's like it's taken a hot minute because she has other jobs to do.
Yeah, she does all the emails, she packages all the orders, she does all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, and the weather has not cooperated exactly every day that we've needed it to. So every chance she gets, she's outside writing names on the wall or on the bricks.
And she's such a sweetheart. Like, I'll go out there and look at it through the window, and she's just smiling away, writing these names. Like, we got, I want to say it was like 1,500 names when we did that brick by brick launch in August for people to take advantage of the discount and get their name painted on the brick. So there's a bunch of names.
Yeah.
Anyways, all that said, we have pretty much wrapped up the painting of those names. However, there's about 250, 260 more bricks left to be named. And my OCD is kicking in a little bit. We got this beautiful painted black brick wall with a bunch of names on it and then a spot without names. So my goal is to just fill that little spot so that it all looks uniform, all looks consistent, all looks amazing. So when you hear this podcast, throughout the entire first week of January 2022, we're going to re-honor that brick by brick launch, and we will fill that wall up. So for that first week in January, anybody that buys a brick on the Keto Brick website and uses the code brick by brick, because this company was built brick by y'all, we're going to put your name on that wall. If you've already used the code in the past and your name's already on the wall, feel free to take advantage of the code. You'll still get the 15% discount. But the new names will be the ones that are filling up that wall.
Yeah. So the first 250, 260 names that come through that are brand new that haven't already been added to the wall will be the ones that are added to the bricks. And then anything after that, we're going to have to nix.
I don't know, if it's
we
a
haven't
new
decided
name,
what we're going to do with extra
if it's
names.
a new name that has not yet been added, we'll find a spot for the name for sure.
Okay, there we go.
We got another wall. It's on interior wall, but we'll make sure your name's on the wall somewhere.
But if your name is already on there, feel free to take advantage of the 15% discount, and we will just look at your beautiful name on the bricks.
Yeah, we'll honor that brick by brick launch for all the people that want to take advantage of that first week of January. And I feel like, kind of going back to resolutions, everybody's got these health goals and everything for, the beginning of the year. And I never really want to play into that. We just coincidentally finished writing all of our current names on there. Yeah. But for anybody that does want to get their nutrition dialed in, get on a routine, get on a protocol, and make the Keto Bricks part of that protocol, definitely jump on this, start the new year off strong with a brick at a 15% discount and rock and roll with that. Boom. Did
we mention how long it was that was going on for?
First week. So basically, it'll start at 12 noon Central on Sunday. What is that? The second? The second. And then it'll go through until the next Sunday, which is what?
My handy dandy phone. The 5th.
The 5th at 12.
Nope, I'm a liar. The 9th.
The 9th. So from the 2nd of January at 12 noon Central, it'll start. And it'll go through until 12 noon Central on Sunday, the 9th. Mm-hmm. I need to double check that now. Okay, 8. Where's the 9?
On Sunday.
Okay. All right. I trust you.
Where is the 9 after the 8 before the 10?
I say I trust you, but I'm still double checking here. All right. That is the 9th. You are correct.
Oh. I mean, if you think it's the 2nd, then 7 days. It's the 9th.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
We should have done the math.
Should have. But yeah, we're super excited about that. The last brick by brick launch was a huge success. A lot of people jumped on that. Y'all are freaking awesome. We're forever indebted to you. We love you.
It is pretty cool because even the people like here, like in town, have come in and say like, "What are all the names on the wall for?"
Yeah.
And it's pretty cool to be able to tell them like, "Look, all of these people, all over the world, have purchased from us, have supported us, and like it's cool to be able to tell new people who like don't know who we are, don't know anything about us, about all of you guys, about all the people who have supported us, brick by brick."
Brick by. I think we're gonna make brick by brick shirts at some point.
I know.
It's pretty cool. But yeah, my website team was here the other day.
Oh, that's right.
And they were the ones that were commenting on that. So it does not go unnoticed. It's pretty cool to have all y'all's names on the wall.
Yeah.
you want to just kind of do like a 2021 recap and then kind of go into 2022, what we have coming up?
Sure.
So for you, 2021, what are some things that stood out?
Way to put me on the spot there.
I know.
I don't know. We just had so much stuff going on. Like, we spent so much time traveling back and forth from Fayetteville to Bryant to, like, the new building to the facility that we were at. Just so much time driving, looking at the building, seeing how that's coming along, talking to the contractor, all the different things that come with renovating a building, to hiring on several new crew members. That was weird.
All official over here.
And then moving into the new facility and moving into my brand new home. Well, it's not brand new, but it's new to us. And moving into our new home and getting pregnant, and like, there's so many different things. Like, that, a lot of that is personal. I mean, not the business part, but a lot of like personal growth and changes that have happened over the last year too. So I don't know, just a lot. Like, I feel like I'm going to forget so many different things because so much happened this year. But I also felt like there was such a huge piece of time where you and I just had our heads down, like, working, because it was like, we got to do all this before we can get to the new building, and then we got to do all this, after we get there. And like, I just feel like we kept like grinding, I don't know.
Yeah, the transition was, I'd love to say that it was a smooth transition, but it was not really a smooth transition. Yeah, it was not
smooth at all.
Yeah, I mean, our crew was amazing.
Yeah.
I have no complaints with the crew. All the people that have supported us have been amazing. Mm-hmm. The whole contractor renovation thing was nothing amazing about that, really. Headache after headache after headache, and surprises. I'm not one for surprises. I don't like surprises.
We hate surprises.
Yeah, especially when they're bad surprises.
Yeah, yeah.
Those are never good. But you overcome, you overadapt, you evolve, and we made the most of it. So, but we're here now, which is good. When did we move into the house? We bought the house.
We moved in August when we moved to the building.
Yeah, we had the house in December
of last year.
2020. Yeah, and then we would go up like every weekend almost, like work on the house, work on the building. So much time was spent just driving. So yeah, I'm excited not to have to do that anymore.
Yeah, it's so nice to not have to drive anymore.
When did you get pregnant? What month was that?
The end of July, the beginning of August.
End of July, beginning of August. Yeah, the first.
Okay, that's not true. That was the end of my cycle. The middle of August is when we got pregnant.
Middle of August. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
I can give you the day and time. No, I'm just kidding.
I can tell you how it happened.
Yeah, middle of August. That was right before we did the 50-mile march.
Yeah, so you are pregnant on the 50-mile march.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah, it is crazy. Yeah.
Pretty cool. It's like bragging rights right there.
Got a savage baby.
Yeah, savage baby for sure. But with 2021, it was just a total whirlwind. There were so many things, so many moving pieces up in the air. And like, it was just hard to track anything. It was hard to track training because we had to tear our gym down at the other place, rebuild the gym here. It's hard to track nutrition because we were never in the same spot at the same time. It's hard to track finances because there was always an unexpected expense, and the whole move was an incredible expense, and then getting the building outfitted was an incredible expense. It's hard to like stay on top of flavor launches and keeping certain flavors in stock because we had to like tell suppliers, okay, we're moving here, so don't ship your pallet until this day, and it was just total chaos through and through. But I feel like we got a good solid, location now. We've got room to grow in this building. Our crew's all up here. They're all situated and settled in, and I'm hopeful that 2022 will be our best year yet. That's what we're always hoping for. So it'll be good. What do we got up in the pipeline with 2022?
We have several new flavors that are going to be coming out, which we're not going to say anything about. Don't say anything because you're the worst at giving hints.
What's crazy is we didn't launch a single new flavor last year.
This year,
2021.
Yeah. But we have a bunch coming out in 2022 that we're very excited about, and we felt like, oh my gosh, we didn't do any in 2021. Like, we have got to do more in 2022. So we're super excited about it, trying to like jump on that, get started. Relaunching the apparel, which is really exciting. I'll be having a baby. That'll be crazy.
Yeah, that'll be a whirlwind in itself.
Yeah, we're trying to like prepare for that right now, which is really hard to prepare for something you've never done before. So not the birth part, but like the having a newborn and all that.
Well, you never had a birth either. I don't think.
Right.
Yeah, we spent most of this past weekend putting together a crib, getting everything situated, painting. You know, I didn't paint anything. I don't paint. But Crystal painted a bunch.
And he did not.
So yeah, we're excited about getting the nursery all set up, getting the baby on the way. I got my book that's launching probably in January. I don't have an official day yet, but I think it's tentatively the 30th of January. So super stoked about that.
I'm really ready for that to be out, and like I'm excited to see people excited about it because we've been excited about it for a long time. You've been working on it for a long time, and I'm just ready for it to be out in the world.
Yeah, I feel like the people that I've sent it to get me some like, you know, book blurbs back, like preliminary readings of it, you know, like Dom DiAgostino, Danny Vega, Mike Mutzel, Simland, Jamie. I mean, there's a lot of people that have read it already, and they've told me that they've been impressed by it. So that's good and encouraging words to hear. So I'm super excited to get this released and out to the public. That'd be good. I mean, this is my first foray into the whole book publishing realm, but Ketogenic Bodybuilding is the name of the book. It's going to be, I think, pretty amazing for people. I don't think there's really anything else like it on the market. It's certainly, I mean, I've read a whole bunch of books about natural bodybuilding, and they've all been great. Like, I've taken something from them for sure, but there's not really any books about natural bodybuilding as it pertains to a low-carbohydrate ketogenic diet. So really just pulling the cover back on that and focusing on optimizing for that, I think will be a really good resource for people. You know, because so many people, and you can attest to this, like you've competed before, you know, the standard out there for competitors is just carbs, people in the backstage eating rice cakes and peanut butter, and like nobody thinks you can excel and be competitive with a ketogenic approach. I've earned my pro card with it. You won your show with it. Yep. I've had several clients earn their pro cards. So just simply presenting a viable alternative to people that would do better without the carbohydrates is going to be good, I think.
Yep, totally agree.
You know, you've got some stuff with Lady Savage in the pipeline.
Yep, I'm trying to set Lady Savage up for success while I am having a baby, having a newborn, all of that. So there's a couple of things that I've been thinking about doing for a while, course-wise, things that are all inclusive. I have there's a huge group of people who are not specifically keto, who follow me, that don't follow me specifically for my keto stuff, that I would really just like to help the whole group, like the whole people group, that to figure out like what's going to be the best option for them, nutrition-wise, health-wise, fitness-wise, all of that. So I have an idea for a course that I'm really going to start trying to dive into here soon, that will be all-inclusive and helpful for those who maybe choose a carbohydrate-based diet or choose a keto diet or whatever, paleo, however you want to do it, but not telling you, like, you should choose these macros for carb-based, just because I've been out of that world for a little while. But there's certain foods and types of foods and oils and like caffeine and alcohol and all of those things that a lot of people just don't understand, the way that they react with your body. Why you wouldn't want a sugary item, or why you wouldn't want too little protein, or this, or whatever it is. No matter what you're trying to do just to better your health, even like the first baby steps. Like, I feel like a lot of people will sign up for coaching because they're so excited to change their life, and then they're like, this is really overwhelming. They just need baby steps, like little bits of information of like, why would we do this? Why do I need this much protein? Why do I need to cut out this, processed thing? Why, all those little things. I feel like so many people don't know the basics, that I would really like to bring it back to the basics within a course, that if you're a little bit more advanced and you've been counting your macros and stuff, you might want to know some of those things. Or if you're just starting out, that might be a really helpful tool for you to start, learning your way through and maybe advancing over time. So I'm hopeful for that, and maybe a few other things as well. I am going to keep up with my coaching and everything through newborn infancy, all of that stuff. But I also want to be able to provide a different opportunity for people who are looking for something a little different.
Yeah, I think, like you've said, a lot of people are a little hesitant to jump on coaching with someone that's about to have a baby. But I feel like the way our lifestyles are constructed right now, like the way we live our life, like you'll be totally fine and taking on the clients and be able to offer a ton of value to them. I mean, I think you would be great coaching clients that are trying to become pregnant or about to become pregnant and want to follow a ketogenic diet, because so many people have concerns about that. They just assume that you can't do it unless you're eating carbs. They assume that the baby is going to be malnourished, and our baby has not yet been born. So, I mean, maybe it's going to pop out with like 3 legs and, horns and stuff.
Saw an ultrasound. It's
But we
fine.
did just see an ultrasound, and everything looked to be in check. I tried to get the circumference of the biceps on the ultrasound, but they wouldn't give that metric to me. But all that to say, I feel like, everything that we've done thus far has been just super smooth. Like your pregnancy happened, I mean, literally to a T of when we wanted it to happen. The growth and development of the fetus has all been positive. You haven't had hardly any of the issues that are normally associated with pregnancy, especially first trimester. I mean, there was like a little phase there where you had a little bit of morning sickness, and you've been a little queasy a couple times, but you haven't had any of the cravings. You haven't been crazy. You haven't really deviated from your nutrition at all. I mean, the most you've had from a carb standpoint is probably like 30 grams total carbs at any point in a day, and that's mostly been from like berries or something. So you've basically just broken the mold for what people say you have to do during a pregnancy, and you're seeing nothing but success with it. So I feel like anybody that's wanting to go that route, wanting to get pregnant, you'd be a pretty good resource. Just somebody to have somebody relatable that they can talk with and be coached through.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that'd be great.
Yeah, it's very hard. I mean, I had a lot of people like tagging me or sending me different things and books and people I should follow and diet ideas that I should do. And I literally ignored every one of them, which that wasn't to say like, oh, you're wrong. It was just overwhelming. Like there was so much information. There was so many ideas and books and fitness influencers that you should follow this person for that and this and that. And it's just like, this is too much. How about I just listen to my body and choose to do the things that are working well with me and working with my midwife and making sure that the decisions I'm making for my body are also working well for the baby. And everything's been beautiful and perfect and wonderful. And like we're only, week 22, but everything has been really, really great. And I think there's a lot to say for like intuition, like just naturally going for what feels right, what feels good. Like we are going to be doing a birthing class. And I'm really looking forward to that. But it's someone I looked up and someone who was recommended to me by my midwife. It's a method that I really want to do. Not something that was just like thrown at me on social media. Like you should do this or this person's book's the best. Like I would be happy to recommend different things to people, but I'm going to wait till they ask me, and, I don't know. So there is so much information out there. Sometimes it's just really nice to speak with one person and like, hey, this is what I'm thinking about doing. What do you think? Or how should I navigate this? Or, whatever it is. So anyways,
well, so
I'm
many
going to
people
ramble on that.
so many people are really disconnected with their body and their mind. They don't really know, like they'll have an ailment and they won't know what the possible stimulus is, what's causing it, what the catalyst is. They won't know where to turn. They'll automatically go to drugs or some type of medical intervention, as opposed to just changing the environmental factors. And I feel like because we've competed and because we track our macros and because we really know what the inputs that we provide, how they impact us directly, like we're just incredibly in tune with our body. And I feel like, pregnancy, like that's a pretty hands-on, thing. Like you're going to be feeling and experiencing changes on a day-to-day basis. So like for you, like you'll feel a certain way and you'll be able to automatically associate that with, okay, this is probably because I've had too many electrolytes in this short of a window of time, and that's why I'm getting the GI distress that I am. So let me tweak this, and then boom, it fixes the problem.
Yep.
Or, there's certain foods that you think will settle your digestion more so than others. And since you've manipulated things for so long around a ketogenic diet, what automatically would work for that. So yeah, I think, being more in tune with your body is oftentimes not given the respect it deserves, but during a pregnancy, especially knowing what levers to pull is going to be huge.
Yeah, totally agree.
So, I guess since we're talking about all this pregnancy stuff, we made a video about the baby's sex and name. The baby's sex is dun, 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 dun.
A boy.
It is a boy, an unmistakable boy too. That ultrasound was.
Yeah,
He's a Sykes for sure.
He was. He was out there. He was ready to show us.
Yeah, he wouldn't show us his face for forever. We had to like literally sit in the ultrasound for 20 minutes and took forever to get a side profile of the face. But yeah, having a boy. The name is going to be Robert Rigel Sykes. You want me to tell the story about?
Yes.
Okay. So, first part is Robert. So my name is Robert. My dad's name is Robert. His dad's name is Robert. So this will be the fourth Robert, but the middle names are different. So my dad and his dad are both Robert Smith Sykes. So my dad's technically Robert Smith Sykes Jr. They wanted to do something different with me. They didn't want me to be a third. They wanted to incorporate hunting in some form or fashion. So they made my middle name Orion, which is the constellation of stars in the night sky, Orion's belt, and the full constellation is Orion, the hunter, and it means the hunter. The brightest star in that constellation is Rigel. So we kind of were thinking, Robert Rigel Sykes, my son, is going to be the brightest part of me. So I thought that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And also, interestingly enough, his initials are going to be R.R. Sykes, and the only other R.R. Sykes in the family is Royal Ray Sykes, who is, I guess, like my great-great-great-grandfather, maybe. But he's the cornerstone person that made the whole Sykes farm. Like, he's the one that bought the land for the farm where we have our Thanksgiving. The farm's where we got married. The farm is where my parents are going to be buried. And there's a lot of... The farm runs very deep in our bloodline, so to have Royal Ray Sykes have been basically the originator of the farm that's held our whole family close together, and for our son to be Robert Rigel Sykes with the significance of that is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm super excited about it. And Robert, so Pop goes by Robert, and his dad goes by Bob, and Robert goes by Robert, and the family has a bunch of nicknames for Robert. This one. And so I was like, well, what are we gonna call him? We call him Robbie, call him, what? And so we decided to go ahead and call him by his middle name, Rigel. So that's what we're gonna do until he decides he doesn't like that, or if maybe he'll use it forever. But if he wants to change it later and be called Robert or Robbie or Mr. Sykes.
Yeah. And Rigel's a unique name. I'd never heard it before. It's spelled R-I-G-E-L. So the first time I saw it, I said Rigel.
Yeah, we were like, oh, Rigel.
Like, how do you pronounce this? It's Rigel,
Rigel.
But yeah, the more I say it, the less weird it sounds, the more I like it. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, at first we were both like, Rigel. Okay, all right. And now we're both like, I love that name so much. Like, it's just like hugely grown on us.
It's going to be good. It's going to be good. So yeah, we're super excited. Baby's due in May. So that'll be a big part of 2022 for sure.
Yeah.
We spent Christmas with the folks, shared the name with them. My mom and dad both cried, which is pretty cool.
Yeah,
pretty special.
Sweet.
Yeah. So yeah, that's pretty much the wrap up on the baby there. I want to say a lot of the stuff for the second trimester video, so we'll do that at a later date.
Yeah. So we went over the bricks. We got tons of new flavors coming out. We're doing the brick by brick launch. Went over the baby stuff. Do we have anything later in the year?
In 2022?
Yeah, we have a bunch of conferences lined up, and conferences that will have like booths and things like that at. Robert will be speaking, and
yeah, the first conference is I think KetoCon in July, the one that we'll be going to. I'm pretty sure it's July. So that's July. Then what's in August?
If they're gonna do it again, Keto Summit Omaha.
So Keto Summit Omaha, which I'm pretty sure will be happening again. And then after that, Keto Las Vegas, I think.
Yeah, Keto Las Vegas.
And then after that, there's the Keto Symposium in Connecticut. And then I think there's one more that I'll be speaking at. Not entirely sure, but pretty much a conference every single month. So the baby's born in May. And then June, we don't have anything tentatively planned yet. And then basically July through the rest of the year, we get a conference every month.
Yeah.
And then supposedly, hopefully, in a perfect world, if all goes well, Chip and I are going to be filming like crazy on a complete ketogenic competition prep online course that will kind of act as a companion to the book, but it's all going to be laid out in like video modules, tutorials, recipes, posing, technique, training. I mean, like the most comprehensive competition prep course that has ever been developed, hands down, no questions asked. I feel very confident about it. It will literally be the best option out there, especially for someone that's wanting to do a ketogenic protocol. And that the goal is to publish that and launch it before the baby's born. So if all goes well, that will be the case for that.
I'm excited for that one too. That'd be really, really good.
Yeah, it's kind of like daunting. Like we've got Deeper State Keto.
Yeah, I was going to actually mention Deeper State Keto. We have a couple new we got a couple new coaches joining on Deeper State Keto, which is also a wonderful course. Like especially if you're looking for weight loss with the keto diet. Like Robert spent so much time with Matt and Mega building that course, and there's some really, really great information, and it's pretty basic. Like to me, it's like you don't have to think about it. You just put in your numbers and it all just calculates for you. And it's like it's a full 90-day course. Could be a little bit longer if you're under eating from the beginning. But you do the onboarding and then you go through each phase, and it'll be about 90 days, give or take, depending on where you're at starting. But it's an awesome course. Like I don't know. I haven't seen like another like actual keto course that's not like a coaching one-on-one that does the same thing as Deeper State Keto.
Yeah, I mean, we made that, I guess that was back in like 2017 or something crazy. Partnered up with Matt and Mega from Keto Connect.
I think it launched in 2018 because it was right before I did my show.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's still live and active, deeperstateketo.com for that one. We do have two new coaches, and they will be active coaches by the time this goes live. So Greg, the client that I just had that earned his pro card, and Jen Patero, who just earned her pro card, are both going to be Deeper State Keto coaches starting off the beginning of the year. So super excited about that. I'm hopeful that they'll kind of take the reins and create a lot more content, recipe videos, live Q&A, stuff like that as well. And Deeper State Keto is just a really solid option for people that want a structured protocol but aren't necessarily doing a competition prep. So the competition prep course that I'm building out is going to be very specific to competitive athletes. But both are great resources for what they're kind of catering to.
Totally.
I don't want to sound like we're like pitching too many things or sales here at all.
I mean we're going over the whole year, last year, this year, all the things but that is a new thing that's happening is the coaches joining in, and we're super excited to introduce them on Deeper State. Yeah,
they're good people for sure. I mean, like for me as a coach, working with them, the cool thing about being a coach, especially one that coaches competitive athletes, is that you learn so much about people in the process. Like, I mean, they had so many hardships. Like Jen, she's in Canada, so her first competition got canceled because COVID restrictions were super strict up there in Canada, so it had to be a virtual show. And then she did another show later in the year, so we had to like basically do like a mini reverse and then do another prep, and then like all kinds of family stuff and just life stuff that happens in that long a period of time. Greg lost his father early on in his prep, so all the emotional stuff that comes with that. There's just a ton of just heartache and just obstacles that life throws at you, but how you respond in the face of those obstacles. I mean, you learn more about somebody that's going through a prep and how they respond to obstacles than you learn from somebody over 6 years. You learn more from somebody in 6 months in a prep than you do from somebody just kind of casual day-to-day life in 6 years. I feel confident in saying that. So I can totally vouch for both of those individuals. They've been a joy to work with as, clients, and I view them as friends now more so than anything, and I've got no doubt they'll be able to just rock and roll with the Deeper State Keto protocol.
Yep, I think that'll be good. So what else? What else do we have? Hunting season's always crazy for Robert, so that'll probably be the majority of the end of the year. His hunting.
I didn't get a deer this year. The year's not quite over, but we do have some deer in the backyard. You know that drive from our house to the compound?
Yeah.
Right there where that field is?
Yes.
Where they always
are there.
There's always deer right there. I'm halfway tempted to just like
knock on their door.
Yeah,
Can I get a deer
knock on
over
the
here?
neighbor's door and see if we can hunt their property.
Yeah,
but
gun season is not still going, but for those of you who are wondering why we're talking about hunting, it's gun season is over, but bow season is still around. So
yeah, bow season goes to the end of February in Arkansas, which is crazy.
Yep.
But we do have a lot of meat in the freezer because we got 3 deer that were harvested earlier this year during that hunting trip that we did, and then we got that cow that I butchered a couple weeks back, so we just got to go get that meat. But we got a half a cow, so that's kind of cool.
Yep, very nice. It's always nice to have extra meat in the freezer.
Always. Well, babe, is there anything else we've missed, or is that pretty much a little recap?
I feel like we're going to get off of here and remember, but I'm not going to remember while I'm sitting here.
Yeah, so the main
There's
highlights.
so many things going on this next year.
There are. The main pillars we wanted to cover were the Manifesto. We got that. The Brick by Brick launch. So Brick by Brick discount 50% first week in January. Covered that.
2nd through the 9th.
2021 recap, 2022 things coming up, and then the baby name, meaning, sex, all that good stuff.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's a wrap.
It's a random podcast, but there you go. There's our life in a nutshell.
Always a pleasure talking to you, baby cakes.
Always. We'll see you guys in like 5 weeks when we do a second trimester follow-up.
Yeah. Are you going to round out with the beatbox? Come on, give it to us.
No.
You're not going to give it to us?
No.
That could be our closing music for the podcast.
No, it's really awful. No, we're not going to do that.
Maybe next time.
Okay.
All right, signing off. Catch y'all later. Love ya. Ta-ta for now.